The evolution of the Super Bowl. A historical Overview Part-1. The Super Bowl is the championship game of the National Football League, NFL, and is one of the most watched sporting events in the world. The game is played annually on the first Sunday in February and has become a cultural phenomenon, attracting not only football fans but also casual viewers who tune in for the halftime show, commercials, and parties. The first Super Bowl was played in 1967 between the Green Bay Packers and the Kansas City Chiefs. The game was created as a result of a merger between the NFL and its rival league, the American Football League, AFL, and was designed to determine the champion of the newly combined league. The Packers won the game 35-10, and since then, the Super Bowl has become an annual event, attracting the best teams from both the AFC and NFC. Over the years, the Super Bowl has grown in popularity and has become an event that transcends football. In addition to the game, the Super Bowl has become known for its commercials, halftime show, and parties. Some of the most iconic commercials of all time have premiered during the Super Bowl, and the halftime show has featured some of the biggest names in music. The Super Bowl has also undergone significant changes in its history. The game has evolved in terms of rules, format, and technology, making it a different experience for viewers and players alike. The addition of instant replay, for example, has been a game changer, allowing officials to review plays and make more accurate calls. In recent years, the Super Bowl has also become a platform for social and political issues. From player protests to inclusivity in the halftime show, the Super Bowl has become a place where discussions on important topics take place. This has led to a greater awareness of the power of the event beyond just a game. In conclusion, the Super Bowl is more than just a football game. It has become a cultural touchstone and a reflection of our society. The history of the Super Bowl is a story of evolution and change, and it will continue to shape and be shaped by our culture for years to come. The Super Bowl is the most watched and celebrated annual sporting event in the United States, and one of the most significant sporting events globally. Throughout the years, the Super Bowl has produced countless iconic moments, epic comebacks, and unforgettable performances, and the games that delivered these moments have been etched into the history of American football. In this article, we'll take a look at some of the greatest Super Bowl games of all time. Super Bowl III, 1969. Often referred to as the guarantee game, this Super Bowl was the first to be officially referred to as the Super Bowl. The underdog New York Jets, led by quarterback Joe Namath, made a bold prediction before the game, guaranteeing a victory against the heavily favored Baltimore Colts. Against all odds, the Jets delivered, defeating the Colts 16-7 in what is considered one of the greatest upsets in NFL history. Super Bowl XIII, 1979. The Super Bowl XIII between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys was a high-scoring, back-and-forth affair that featured two of the best teams in NFL history. The Steelers eventually emerged victorious, winning 35-31 thanks to a game-winning touchdown catch from Lynn Swann. Super Bowl XXV, 1991. This Super Bowl, played during the Gulf War, was an emotionally charged affair. The game between the Buffalo Bills and the New York Giants was a tightly contested defensive struggle that came down to the wire. In the closing seconds of the game, Bills kicker Scott Norwood missed a 47-yard field goal attempt, giving the Giants a 20-19 victory. Super Bowl XLII, 2008, in one of the biggest upsets in Super Bowl history, the New York Giants defeated the previously undefeated New England Patriots 17-14. The game featured a stunning game-winning drive by Giants quarterback Eli Manning, culminating in a touchdown pass to Plaxico Burress with just 35 seconds left on the clock. Super Bowl LI, 2017, in a game that will forever be remembered for the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history, the New England Patriots overcame a 25-point deficit to defeat the Atlanta Falcons 34-28 in overtime. Quarterback Tom Brady led the charge, throwing for 466 yards and 2 touchdowns, and earning his 4th Super Bowl MVP award. These are just a few of the greatest Super Bowl games of all time. While each game has its unique story and memorable moments, they all share a common thread. They are the pinnacle of American football and showcase the grit, determination, and talent of the world's best athletes. The Super Bowl is the biggest stage in American sports, and every year, a new Super Bowl MVP is crowned. The MVP award is given to the player who is deemed to have had the biggest impact on the game and is often awarded to the quarterback or a standout player on the winning team. Over the years, there have been many great Super Bowl MVPs, but some stand out above the rest. Here are some of the greatest Super Bowl MVPs of all time and why they were deserving of the award. Joe Montana, Super Bowl 24. Montana is widely considered one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history, and his performance in Super Bowl 24 is a big reason why. He completed 22 of 29 passes for 297 yards and 5 touchdowns in a 55-10 blowout win over the Denver Broncos. Montana's pinpoint accuracy and ability to make big plays when it mattered most earned him the Super Bowl MVP award. Jerry Rice, Super Bowl 23. Rice is widely regarded as the greatest wide receiver in NFL history, and his performance in Super Bowl 23 is a big reason why. He caught 11 passes for a Super Bowl record 215 yards and a touchdown in a 20-16 win over the Cincinnati Bengals. Rice's ability to make big plays in the clutch earned him the Super Bowl MVP award. Tom Brady, Super Bowl 51. Brady has won the Super Bowl MVP award a record 5 times, but his performance in Super Bowl 51 stands out. In the biggest comeback in Super Bowl history, Brady led the New England Patriots back from a 28-3 deficit to win 34-28 in overtime. He completed 43 of 62 passes for a Super Bowl record 466 yards and 2 touchdowns, earning him his 4th Super Bowl MVP award. Terry Bradshaw, Super Bowl 14. Bradshaw was the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers' dominant teams in the 1970s, and his performance in Super Bowl 14 helped cement his legacy. He completed 14 of 21 passes for 309 yards and 2 touchdowns in a 31-19 win over the Los Angeles Rams. Bradshaw's ability to make big plays downfield earned him the Super Bowl MVP award. Von Miller, Super Bowl 50. Miller's performance in Super Bowl 50 was one for the ages. He had 2.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 6 tackles in a 24-10 win over the Carolina Panthers. Miller's dominant performance on the biggest stage earned him the Super Bowl MVP award. These are just a few of the many great Super Bowl MVPs over the years. Each of these players was deserving of the award for their incredible performances on the biggest stage in American sports. As the Super Bowl continues to evolve and produce new stars, it will be exciting to see who will join this list of all-time greats.